Dan George with Chris Billam-Smith. Chris, thanks for your time. Just as we're kind of speaking a bit off camera, having to speak to you the day that my team Arsenal lose to your team Bournemouth at Vitality Stadium. I mean, the Cherries are doing all right at the moment, aren't they, under Iraola?
Yeah, it's a great result today. Obviously, there was a red card in the game, but still got sometimes harder playing against 10 men. We've had it before where we've struggled, but got a result today, and I think the way I've seen us play this season, we've deserved it. We've everything seems to be working well, and just such a joy to watch.
Do you find it a bit of a shame that you can't get to as many games as I'm sure you'd like to get to?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's but it's a choice for me. If I'm home at weekends, then spending time with Frank and Mia. I'm only home for 48 hours on a weekend. But today they've actually come up with me, and I'm obviously here watching Adam, and they're back at the hotel. So it's they're spending the week with me up here, which is nice. But I don't get to go to as many games. Give it a few more years, and hopefully Frank will be up for be into his football. He'll have to be a Cherries fan, and we can go to the games together.
Get him a season ticket.
Absolutely, that's the plan.
Tell me about Adam. Obviously, Adam Azim, you're in the gym with him, I'm sure, pretty much most days. Tell me what you see of him and how exciting you find him as a fighter. Obviously, this will go out after his fight, but just from your point of view, how exciting do you see him as a fighter?
Yeah, he's there's the hype, right, and the hype is valid. It's deserved. But I never ever read into hype until I know a person and can see their mentality and stuff. And Adam's got it all. He's got the ability, he's got the talent, and then you match that with the work ethic that you need and the mindset that you need to constantly seek improvement in every area of the job, whether that's nutrition or S&C or mindset or breathwork coach or sleep or whatever it is. And he does it all, and it's such a joy to see someone have that much ability and still do all those things. And that's why I believe he can go all the way to the top and stay there and go through the weight divisions as a multi-weight world champion. There's still things he's got to learn in boxing, still things he's going to have to go through in boxing. There will be down times, there will be hard times, but it's not defined by the fights, it's defined by everything that you do in between, whether you have a bad day in the gym, you just got to keep consistent with it all. And he does that, and he's very determined, and he's got a very wise head on his shoulders.
We're here at the Copper Box tonight. Obviously, apart from your interest in that show, I wanted to get your opinion on two other guys that are on the card, will have been on the card by the time this comes out. Michael McKinson and Louis Edmondson. Not to be for Michael just there, losing to Chelani and Benge, but two guys that have fought on your cards a number of times. I know Michael and Louis both fought on the Vitality Stadium show, and they've been at the International Centre as well. Is there also a bit of a kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but you see these guys on your shows, and they're from the area as well. Is there a bit of kind of pride in seeing the South kind of, on the map on these big shows and cards in London?
Yeah, you feel a part of it as being from the South Coast, and absolutely. I remember Louis getting spoke about as an amateur when I first started, like how good he was. So yeah, it's mad that he ends up fighting on my undercard years later, but also now he's sort of breaking big fight tonight. But yeah, it's great to see, and I think the South Coast has got a lot of talent, and it's only going to get bigger.
Last time we spoke was at your beloved Vitality Stadium for the the night talking about your career that night against Lawrence there. Do you have any reflections on that night? Was it nice to be able to reminisce and sit there with Steve Bunce and a crowd and just look back on it without having to look forwards, or right now you could just purely reflect on the moment?
Yeah, it was really nice. I'm very I like doing those sort of things. I like to reflect and show some gratitude to all the great times I've had, and try and enjoy the journey as much as possible, which is always hard to do when you're in the thick of camp. But yeah, when you're in training, you're not really thinking about that sort of thing. But at the weekend, you might switch off a bit and you can think about those times. And it's always nice to be able to do that and see how far I've come and what I've overcome and stuff like that. And then success that's come off it, and it's always nice to talk about that. And I mean, that night, the vitality that I had against Lawrence I'll never get bored of talking about that, that's for sure. And I mean, some guy literally just came up to me just before I chatted to you in here, and it's like, mate, I was there at Bournemouth. Oh, what a night, blah blah blah. And I think he was a Brummie or something. Just amazing. Yeah, so I love talking about that and sharing that memory.
We also, on that night, couldn't properly talk about Zurdo Ramirez because there were still a few things to iron out, but we're there now. It's been signed. You've been over to America to experience the Riyadh season, the Oscar De La Hoya experience. How, weird was it? I don't know. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's an inconvenience in the middle of the camp, but we managed it well. I trained on the Monday and the Friday here. Flew out there on the Tuesday, came back on the Thursday, trained out there on the Wednesday a couple of times, was flying all day Tuesday, most of the day Thursday, did half a session on the Thursday, kind of like lighter session when I got back, stayed on English time. But then on the way over there I was like, I can let this stress me out and get in the way, but I just squeezed some sessions in the weekend before and the weekend after to make sure I wasn't missing any. And then I'm flying over to LA for a press conference. I was there in LA for 27 hours from landing to plane leaving. I flying to LA for a press conference for headlining a Golden Boy show in Saudi for a unification fight. Like, I can't be annoyed at this because me 10 years ago would have bit my arms and legs off for that. Do you know what I mean? So in that moment I thought you got to be grateful for these opportunities and the situation I'm in. It's part of the business, and I still got all my training in. So it was a cool experience and one like that. Another little story along the line.
We finally got to see you and Zurdo kind of square up and look at each other in the eye. I'm sure you're not one that really takes much from those kind of face-offs, but what did you make of him being able to, size difference? You both look pretty evenly matched as far as height was concerned. What were your kind of takeaways from finally being able to see him, in the flesh?
Yeah, he's probably a touch shorter than me, and doesn't look like I've boxed big cruiserweights in Lawrence and Richard, and he's not a big cruiserweight, but what he lacks in size, he makes up for in work rate, and he's very, very teak tough and experienced. He's had 47 fights, and that's winning 46. So it's like I said, what he lacks in, what he might lack in size, he makes up for elsewhere. So it's a tough fight, but it was good to size him up, be there. I don't think any of us are the trash talking type. First thing someone asked me in an interview was, you sat across from him now, what do you think of him? And I said, your first thoughts and first meeting. I said, great hair, because he's got a good head of hair on him. And the same question went to him, and he said, yeah, nice suit. So I think that's kind of as good as it's going to get in the build-up. But the fight is guaranteed fireworks. You watch us both fight. He puts his shots together. He's teak tough. He likes to stand there and have it. And I'm exactly the same. So we're in for an absolute treat on the night. And I think it's going to be fireworks.
I think it was nice to see as well. I don't know if you saw, but online on Twitter, there was quite there was quite a lot of journalists from over there that didn't know anything really about you, but just were like, oh man, he dresses so cool. It's nice to see him kind of give that respect to the occasion and what it deserves. Really happy for you. I'm really excited for the fight over there. From the point of view of Zurdo in himself, now we can talk about it. How excited are you for facing him, and what challenges do you think he will bring? You just said it there, that, styles make fights, and your two styles will match really, really well.
Yeah, and like his punch output is more than I've probably been used to, because he's come up from light heavyweight and he's kept his punch output up. So that's kind of one of his strengths coming up. But my punch output is also good, and I carry more power than him. I'll be stronger than him in there, and I probably just that physicality will be a big factor for me. So I've got to just make sure that I'm in top condition physically and mentally, and get the job done. But it's a challenge nonetheless. He's a southpaw and a very highly skilled one at that.
And just finally, Lee Cutler, someone you're in the gym with all the time. It's been a frustrating year for him. Speaking to Ben Shalom yesterday, he said he's hoping around December time we might be able to see him again. Are you hoping just to, from the point of view of one of your closest friends, are you just hoping to see him back out there and hopefully get the opportunities that he deserves?
Yeah, absolutely. He's working away silently in the background at the moment, ready for an opportunity, and that's what matters. And as long as you keep on that and you keep on working away, then I know when the time comes, and the opportunity comes, then it will be ready to grab it with both hands. And it's great to see. It's good to have him up with me all week as well.
So I will just ask you one more as well. Opetaia had a really good win out in Saudi Arabia. I saw his tweet, your tweet as well afterwards, congratulating him. What did you make of his performance? And is the hope still that, not looking over Zurdo, but we can get that fight down the line eventually?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a good performance from him. Jack's sort of never really boxed near that level, but it was a solid. So he did what he had to do, and it was punch perfect. It was nothing. Didn't really put a foot wrong, which is great for me because his stock keeps rising. Opetaia, so I've just got to keep winning, go and win another world title, and then that's my plan is beat Zurdo, then fight Jai.
Other stuff.